And Senator Gary Peters, U.S. Senator from Michigan, is with TI now, coming fresh off a milestone for the intelligent transportation sector. And Senator Peters, welcome.
Well, it's great to be here. Great to be here.
Thanks for being here. In the introduction, I mentioned briefly about this milestone for the intelligent transportation sector. What is that milestone?
Well, I think it would be primarily related to the passage of comprehensive transportation legislation, which is long overdue. You know, we've been doing these short-term fixes, 3 months, 6 months. That's not the way you can develop long-term infrastructure. You need to have some certainty. But the thing that I'm particularly focused on are intelligent vehicles and being able to have vehicle-to-vehicle communications, to have infrastructure. And as I tell my folks back home, can you imagine if you're driving down the highway and the bridge ahead of you is icing up, and that iced up bridge actually tells your car that it's icing up to slow down, and it automatically kicks in? I mean, we're going to be able to stop accidents before they happen, and this bill gives the flexibility when it comes to federal funding to put that kind of technology into our roadbeds.
Now, you talked, so the transportation bill is synonymous with the FAST Act, is that right?
That's right.
Tell me about the significance of the FAST Act.
Well, the significance is that is long-term funding. So now we have a 5-year funding stream for this to work on the infrastructure, critical component of it, and to have a little bit more certainty. These are big projects, require a lot of money, and if you're a business as well in the road building industry, you have to have some certainty because you have to invest in bulldozers and other types of equipment. So it needed to be done, and you cannot be a great country if you don't have world-class infrastructure. So this does that for us. Unfortunately, you know, some of the pay-fors, how we're coming up with the money, not everybody's really excited about it. It doesn't directly tie to the use of the roads, and so we're going to have to be thinking about how we do that in the future. But at least for the next few more years, we're going to be able to make some significant improvements to roads and bridges, as well as exploring some of these exciting new technologies in vehicle-to-vehicle communication.
Senator Peters, of course, when we were talking about connected vehicles, autonomous vehicles, we're also talking about safety-critical systems. Why is it so important for these vehicles to leverage the 5.9 gigahertz spectrum?
Well, that spectrum is essential for us to move forward. And we're just really at the cusp of seeing all of the work that's been done over the last few years to allow vehicles to communicate with each other, to actually put those systems in place, and it means saving lives. I mean, the recent information from the National Highway Traffic Safety Board says that current technologies that are coming online have the potential over the next, just the short few years, to eliminate up to 80% of all traffic accidents in this country. And at a time when 30,000 people die every year on our highways, that's a big deal. But it doesn't happen if we don't have the 5.9 gigahertz. So we've got to have that spectrum. Now there is work to try to figure out, because spectrum obviously is a very valuable commodity, as to can you share some of that spectrum while allowing others to use it, but still not compromising the essential safety features that are coming on board with our vehicles.
Senator Peters, as you know, the transportation bill that was signed on Friday just doesn't really happen every day. What was the road like leading up to that signing?
Well, it was a long road to build up to that signing. It brought people together. The good news is it was bipartisan. Everybody came together. Not everybody got what they want, but that's the definition of a good compromise. Someone once said, if everybody's unhappy, that's probably a good compromise. You know, anybody too happy, it's a problem. But the key thing is that it brought everybody together with a central problem that we face in this country, which is crumbling infrastructure. So it was an important path, but we have a long ways to go. Particularly when it comes to some of the great technologies that are coming up with vehicles, and you know, we got to think about insurance. We got to think about cybersecurity. There are a lot of things that we need to be thinking about.
I want to pick up on the cybersecurity topic and end with that question. This was a really poignant topic at the TIA Connected Vehicle Workshop, which is still going on, by the way, throughout the day today. But is there any language in the transportation bill to the effect of security in the connected vehicle?
Well, it's primarily we've passed cyber legislation to allow sharing between companies and the government. So we have a separate piece of legislation that deals with cyber. It's an important step. It's not complete. We've got to go a lot further. But what it does is it allows companies who believe that they're being attacked with a certain type of threat to share that information with the government. Then the government can share that with other companies as well, so we can be prepared and everybody work together. And that's the first step of what I think will be a longer step of really bringing more coordination of the federal government, particularly the agencies that do this on a regular basis. I think the FBI, for example, very involved in cyber issues, Department of Homeland Security generally. They need to be working much closer with industry, and industry needs to feel comfortable with that relationship. Both partners have to. Right now we have these silos where different industries are working on certain cyber strategies. They're not necessarily talking to other industries, or sometimes the companies within those industries aren't talking to each other as well. That's why we passed the cyber bill, to get people talking to each other. The more information that is shared, and all these great minds that we have, both in the private and public sector, come together, we're going to be able to have a much more comprehensive strategy. And when it comes to intelligent vehicles, that's first and foremost. You don't want someone taking over your car as you're driving down the highway or through a city street. So we have to develop that, and it has to be done as quickly as this technology is advancing.
Senator Gary Peters, it was great to have you in the studio here at TI Now, and congratulations on the bill signing.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.